Hey guys, we're going to take a look at the PowerSmith 360-degree cross-line laser level. It's model number PLCL360T. So what this does is it'll give you a layout line 360 degrees around from this top one, and then a cross line on one side, and it's about a 90-degree field of view that it projects that laser out, so you can do some right angle measurements or right angle alignment. So let's take a closer look at this thing, see what it can do, see what kind of accuracy it has, and see what kind of brightness it has. Alright, it's a pretty compact little form factor. It takes 4 double A's in here. You just pop this little clip open and they kind of come out at you. And pop it back closed. You've got a 1/4x20 mount for a tripod on the bottom. And then you've got an on-off switch that also disengages this little locking mechanism. Interesting note, this shipped to me in the on position without batteries in it, so this was free floating in there and had the opportunity to damage itself, but luckily it did not appear to have done that. And I'm also a little bit iffy. I don't know if you can see in here. You can see the lever that's holding that closed, and it's just a little thin plastic thing, and that kind of worries me a little bit. That might not last very long if this gets jarred around a bunch. So that, yeah, when you turn this switch, it locks it down, and you can see it's blinking right now. That means it's not able to compensate for its 4-degree self-leveling. And when you turn it a little bit more so it can, this light in the back actually goes green, and it stops blinking at you. You can see it goes red. It says I'm not self-leveled. So that'll tell you if it gets bumped when you're working with this. It'll flash at you, and you'll be able to see the laser lines flashing. Some of these levels have like a beep or an audible tone that they can also tell you they're out of level. But if you're looking at the laser and using it for alignment, you're going to see that it's flashing. It also has a couple different laser modes. If you want to use this for layout, but you don't want it to be level, say you wanted to put an X on the wall instead of a plus, you can actually turn it on using this button as well. And the default mode is the cross line. And then you hit power again, and it only gives you the single horizontal line. And then you hit power, the little power button again, and it gives you a vertical line, and that's it. And then you hit it again, and it turns it off. So it's nice. You can use this. You can tilt it at a crazy angle and set up your weird layout, not a level one. It's a nice feature they have. I originally didn't even notice this button. I just noticed the giant on-off button and thought it was only going to be self-leveling. So that was a pleasant thing to find out. The overall quality of construction, like I said, pointing out that little linkage in there, doesn't feel too great. The rubber's not super securely fastened down. And of course, like, this doesn't feel super sturdy. So I don't think it's going to survive drops. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart in my hands either. Tripod isn't much to write home about. I think this is very close to the Amazon Basics model that's like $12. But this does come with it, which is nice. And it's got 3 individual leg extensions, and they all go out to whatever length you want and lock. This portion does not lock down. I was a little bit disappointed about that. And you can see it's kind of just, I mean, it's not perfectly round here. It looks like it got squished a little bit. It's a pretty thin wall aluminum construction on this. It is aluminum though, it's not just all plastic. And this little thing, if you release it, this actually extends up a little bit. So you get a total of, I think it's a 50-inch height, which is going to be good for a lot of projects, but it's not going to be good for all projects. And then it's got all the standard, you can turn this and do your adjustment. So it's got plenty of adjustment points here. Lets it swivel. And then this one obviously lets it tilt. And then you've got your captive plate that comes out here, and you can actually do this and screw it into the base. So you don't have to turn the whole tripod or turn the whole laser. And then that'll just pop back in once you've got it on there. Alright, so I want to measure the accuracy of this laser, so I've got a post-it set up at the bottom of the line, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the laser 180 degrees on its tripod without moving it up or down, and that will show me how far out of level the laser line is when this laser moves up or down versus the fixed post-it note. So I'm going to measure that distance. So here we go, I'm going to turn it around. Alright, so I noticed two things. First of all, the side with the cross is brighter, and then also the laser moved up. Looks around, I think it's around 3/8 of an inch, maybe a quarter. Yeah, I'd say it's right at 3/8 of an inch. So the error on this is 3/8 of an inch at 34.5 feet away. It's one of the longest stretches in my house. And the accuracy that manufacturer states is plus or minus 1/64 of an inch at 3 feet. Well, no one's going to use 3 feet, but you can extrapolate from that. So you should be getting, let's see, 12/64 of an inch error at 36 feet, which we'll use just for these purposes. It's only 1.5 feet off of where it's at right now. So 12/64, that's 3/16, and we've got 3/8. And the reason it's double is because we've doubled our error by turning it around 180 degrees. Normally, if we just went to the laser, it would be half of that. But since the laser is projecting here and it's projecting on the opposite side, and we just turn that opposite side all the way around, it doubled our error. So anyway, so it's true to the manufacturer's specs, and that's not terrible. And it's really out at the end of its range you're going to want to use. Because when it's turned around 180 degrees, it's a really faint laser, even inside. You're definitely not going to be able to use it outside. It's not that bright of a laser. But for its 30 to 36 foot range, yeah, it's going to be fine. It's going to be visible. All right, so I played around a lot looking at accuracy with this thing. The laser, as far as the 360-degree laser, the self-leveling is within the spec that it claims it's in, and that's plus or minus 1/64 of an inch at 3 feet. And you can extrapolate that out, just multiply however many, do the ratio. If you have 6 feet, it's going to be 2/64, etc. So that spec is correct. I did a lot of measuring to try to see if this cross line was at a perfect 90-degree angle. I used the premium level to try to see that, and it read not quite, maybe a 32nd off over the span of this whole level. And then I tried a Pythagoras method using a separate little laser distance measure, which that has plus or minus 1/16 of an inch error in it. And that came out perfectly using Pythagoras theorem. And then I also used a framing square, and it was really hard to get both of these lined up on the wall because this doesn't have any rubber grip. But from what I could tell, it was pretty much there. Might have been a little bit off. Just a teeny bit. So I think there is a little tiny bit of inaccuracy in this cross line, but it's not very much. Like I said, it was maybe a 32nd of an inch over 4 feet. I think it was less than that. It was just really difficult to measure it, and when you're dealing with measurements that small over a very long distance, it's not going to be as crucial as it is if you're dealing with a short distance, maybe 1 or 2 feet. So projects this would be really useful for are layout, if you're doing tile layout, if you're doing a chair rail, if you're hanging cabinets, or if you're just hanging a bunch of pictures and you want them to be at the same height. This will excel at applications like that. I wouldn't use it for anything super precise. And once again, it's only an indoor level. It's not bright enough to be used outside. And you're not going to get the brightness at a distance of much greater than 30 to 35 feet. So I think this is a decent option as long as you recognize it has some shortcomings. It feels a little bit cheaper than some of the big name manufacturers I've used. I mean, the PowerSmith logo on the side here is a friggin' sticker. It just peels right off. But other than that, it seems to be doing a decent job. I don't think it's super durable, but if you baby it, I think it should be okay. Alright, so let's talk value. This thing is $110 with the tripod, the tool, and a case, and 4 AA batteries that are included. So this tripod is like, you can get one that's pretty much equivalent for like $12 or $13 on Amazon. So let's just call this a $100 cross-line laser level with a 360-degree horizontal portion. There aren't many of those on the market. I found a DeWalt one, which is over $200, so over twice the price of this one. And I found a Hammerhead one that's been discontinued that was around $75, I think. So for the price that this is at, it's an okay deal. It has lower accuracy than the DeWalt stated accuracy was, but it's not terrible. I'd say it's a decent option for a homeowner that does a lot of DIY projects that you'd be using this for. For pros, I'd steer clear of this and go with something a little bit more high quality, a little bit more robust. So hopefully this review was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments section below. And once again, don't forget to subscribe.